Hey guys, my name is Paul Peterson. This is for a communications course, Communications 101. I'll be talking about the three main points of how to catch a steer successfully. A little bit about myself. I've been roping for 24 years. Started when I was 10 years old, which I guess makes me 34. What I used to do when I was little, I'd set up a video camera in front of a roping dummy like this, and before I'd go out, I'd watch videos of all my favorite guys, Clay Cooper, Ricky Green, guys like that, and then I'd go out to the roping dummy and I'd practice my swing. And I'd try to match my swing to those guys as best I could. So I'd stand there and swing for a while, and I'd stop, go in, put the cassette tape in, which we used to have, and rewind it and see what I look like. And I think that's kind of the best way to do it. To start your swing, you'll have your loop. You'll grab your two strands across the left over the right. You'll have the rope in a diagonal crease in your hand, and crook your finger a little bit. This will be your pivot point. So when you start your swing, you can bring it back, push down on that pivot point, bring your elbow up. That'll turn your loop over. And that's the correct start to every swing, every revolution that goes around your head. Your pivot point's down, elbow up, down, elbow up. With a head loop, it's a little bit different than a heel loop. A head loop is more level, the plane of your rope. It's pretty much even on the right and left side of you. You want your tip down towards the steer's horns just a little bit. And before you throw, you want to be able to see two horns in your loop when it comes around front. If you can't see two horns, you're probably not turning your loop over soon enough, and it'll be turned around in front of you. That way when you throw, your loop's not open. You'll catch one horn if you're lucky. So if you just always come back to that pivot point, your elbow up, and that'll open up your loop. So to where you can see those two horns every time. Now a heel loop, or a heel swing, is a little bit different. You're going to start it the same way, only it's going to be a little bit higher on the right side than on the left side. So when you start, you do the same thing, pivot point, but you're going to reach up, and then when it comes in front of you, you're going to come down just a little bit to the left. And the same thing, when you're roping the dummy, you want to be able to see two heels in your loop when you bring it in front of you. Same deal, if you don't see two heels, you're not starting your swing with that pivot point correctly. So reach up, right to the left, step down, two heels, step in, throw. The next point I want to talk about is body position. This is probably the biggest misconception, I guess, that people have. A lot of people, when they start standing straight to the steer. So when you start that way, you don't have any movement left in your arm to put any power on your delivery. So if you'll stand, learn this by watching Ricky Green. He said if you stand like you're shooting a bow and arrow, put your left foot in front of your right, your left hand in front of your right, your left shoulder in front of your right, and nothing is squared to the steer until you throw your loop. So when you throw, you'll start by rotating your hips, and everything will follow. And then you'll become squared to the steer. And this is especially important when you're heading. If you're standing square, and you're getting outrun a little bit, and you have your shoulders square, you have no strength to get your loop to the steer's head. much, you'll have most of your weight on your left foot. You'll have your thigh by the saddle horn a little bit, and your right foot will still be behind you just a little bit. So, and your hips will be turned. So when you bring your loop up and you throw, you'll actually pivot and you'll sit. So instead of on the dummy, when you pivot, it becomes square. When you throw on your horse, you'll throw and sit, and that'll make you square. Now we all know Peterson. She's probably the best at this that I know of. Fall through. That is when you deliver your rope, your follow through, brings everything around. Your curl comes up around the horns, and it'll sit on the back of the steer like that. That way, if you miss your slack, it's still in. So I hope these things have helped you guys out. There's another all-girl roping next year, and we can kind of use these things to help prepare to get there and